Knicks Daily Edition, baby. The time for putting dirt on our names is done. If the Knicks beat the Celtics 4-1, it will be absolutely historic. Not just for the franchise, but for the entire Eastern Conference narrative. For years, media has put trash on the New York Knicks name. Now they don't know what to do with themselves. A 4-1 win over the Boston Celtics would be historic. The Celtics, first and foremost, were heavy favorites. This year, the Celtics came into the playoffs as a juggernaut, 64 plus wins, elite offensive defensive ratings, 2 All-NBA wings in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Add to that a loaded rotation that includes Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday. Boston was widely viewed as the team to beat. And many of the people, many of them, considered them championship ready with that roster in this league. So for us to pull off a gentleman's sweep, 4-1, would not only shatter that perception, it would go down as one of the biggest upsets in NBA history, at least in recent memory. I know I'm being a little bit extra with it, but it will remind you of the other video that I made with the 2004 Pistons dismantling the Lakers. Or even 2011 where the Mavericks took out the Heatles. Or even go back to 1995 when the Rockets knocked out the 60-win Spurs and the Magic. I think the second point I would look at is it would elevate us. It would elevate our core to legendary status. We talk about history being made. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, McCall Bridges, dismantling the title favorites. That's crazy. That's the type of win that etches your name into NBA lore. Let's not talk about Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau will go from being respected and stubborn to being a strategic genius overnight. Brunson is going to leapfrog into the top 5 of any MVP finals or MVP conversations. Towns has an opportunity to rewrite his career narrative. But a statement win for this franchise, this exactly would be it. The Knicks haven't reached the Eastern Conference Finals since 2000, and they remind us of that on ESPN. Beating a team like the Celtics in a dominant fashion like this would signal a changing of the guard for us. Madison Square Garden would absolutely melt. You know, Knicks fans, we would erupt like it's a game 7 of the finals if we beat the Boston Celtics in the last game and in the next game, which is the last game. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I'll match us up with the Indiana Pacers. Shout out to that boy Halliburton. But we coming for you, my brother. Assuming that's the matchup, we close out and take care of our business. It'll be the Knicks versus the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Media and everybody else want to talk about that, but they love that narrative. The old school rivalry renewed. In the 90s, it was Reggie Miller versus Spike Lee, Van Gundy on Alonzo Mourning's leg, Larry Johnson's 4-point play. All of that is going to be part of the narrative. But today is Halliburton versus Brunson. Obi Toppin versus his old squad. Rick Carlisle versus Tom Thibodeau. And this is a classic theater type of matchup. We'll look at the styles of play. The Knicks will bring a physical, grind you down style of play with versatile defenders, playoff tested stars, half-court execution, and rebounding. Pacers are fast-paced, creative. They got Halliburton running the show. They're going to go for a lot of three-pointers and a lot of quick cuts. So this matchup with the Knicks and the Pacers will be a contrast of styles. The Knicks are trying to turn it into a war of attrition, muck it up a little bit, and have versatility in their offense, while the Pacers would be trying to force the tempo and kind of create chaos and go on scoring runs. We saw that with the Pacers in their last series. But the matchups will be crazy. Halliburton and Brunson. Halliburton might be flashier, but Brunson has a killer instinct. And you can expect Tibbs to try to trap Halliburton early. When it comes to Towns versus Turner, Cap would be tested defensively in space, obviously, but he would dominate offensively if Indy plays small. And then we don't want to talk about Wingstop. Yes, we do. Let's talk about Wingstop versus the Pacers shooters. Bridges, throw hard in there. OG, they'd have to chase the shooters off the line constantly, but I think they can. But if I would say a prediction, you know where I'm going. If we beat Boston 4-1, the confidence is going to stay high. MSG is going to become the Coliseum. All right. Our defense and our playoff composure, I think, wears ND down, and we're going to beat them in 5 or 6, as long as Brunson keeps cooking. So the bottom line is Knicks fans really easily beating the Celtics, going on to face the Pacers. We're looking at legend making stuff. We're looking at culture breaking stuff, ESPN breaking news stuff. We're talking history, y'all. It's been a while since the New York Knicks were in the spotlight. I mean, dead into the center of the NBA world's conversation. They denied us that for so long. It's funny because I remember back to when the Cubs, Chicago Cubs, and even the Boston Red Sox, when they finally got over that hill and they won their championship. It was almost like the fans had to adjust. I'd never say, look, the irony would be, I would never say I want to be like any Boston fan base. But in this one, I think I do. I want to be like that Boston fan base for the Red Sox, who after the long 100-year drought of losing, they finally get one. Because I think karma's a real thing. I think dharma's a real thing. I think if we get one, that's going to open up the floodgates for another 4 coming after it. So I want that type of payback. The universe owes us. The NBA owes us. ESPN owes us. The league owes us. And then we're not waiting for them to give it to us. We're going to take it. All right? What do you think? Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. But remember this, whether it's out there in the real world or here in these YouTube streets, here in Knicks Deli, everybody eats. I'm your boy Shia, and I'm out. Peace.